Welcome to Dextor Recons Surviving Mars. This is a new game out, Paradox and Haemimont Games. I've seen this out a few times. Actually, one of the other gamers that I tend to follow, Quill, as you can even see, he did some stuff for them and picked up a nice little spot there. So here's the starting screen. You've got easy start new game, load game, your account. If you do an easy start, it just throws you right into the game. The new game gives you a setup stuff. Let me just kind of load up the game here I've been playing. I played through one. This is a completed game, but I just wanted to walk you around a little bit of what a game on easy mode looks like at the end.
Cable fault reported. Pipe leak reported.
A good game. It can keep me busy for a while. I'm going to pause this game really quick here. Here's the map. And so when you start up the game, you'll end up with a map. You get to pick spot where you're going to be. It'll give you like one thing scanned, and then you get a couple of orbital probes. Depending on what you pick, you can look around a couple, scan a couple more things to try to figure out, is this really where I want to land? And you're looking for resources. You see these little mountain things. That's concrete resource. That's going to be important for most of your early build stuff. The red little bars here, this is metals. That's going to be important for your next tier of buildings, even early game, but those are basic resources. The little teardrop here, that's the water resource. You need water to keep people alive, to make fuel. So typically speaking, wherever you land, you'll want to be near those. Now you can remotely mine the concrete. You can remotely mine the water, but you can't mine metals without having somebody there unless you get some later on tech. So for example, you'll see there's a dome over there, and we'll take a look at this one. This is an abandoned dome, but this is what I mean by you kind of have to be within this area around it to be able to mine things like the metal. Now the dollar sign is rare metals. You can use that for electronics, or you can sell that back to Earth to get some cash. You also have some things, I think you won't see any on the map. No. There are anomalies you can find. I've already looked at all the anomalies. A couple of things on your screen. You've got your build. Here's your build menu. One of those things, the colonist overview comes up all the time. Every time you hit the build menu. That should be nice to turn that off as a default. But yeah, you can build things here. So you can start off on the right here with your infrastructure. Here are the different kind of things you can build. Some of these things you discover later on, like building up your rovers, which you send from Earth. You can't do until you've researched them. But right off the top, you can build drone hubs, for example. Power. Here are the different kinds of things you can get for power. These are all do different things. Like solar panel collects something, but it has a half a point of maintenance. So you see it has a production of 2 power. And it takes half a metal to maintain and almost a full metal to build. 3.2 metal, 1 metal maintained, 5 power. So, efficiency wise, it's the large solar panel, but everything has, or most things here have maintenance. And so what's not immediately evident is you have a finite resource to a point. You got wind power here. You're going to take machine parts. You have to build machine parts or import them in from Earth. So this one will produce, a decent amount of power, and also when the higher speeds or higher elevations, it's better. But you end up going through machine parts. The generator puts out even more power, but that takes polymers, and those are advanced as well. You got to build those or import them, and then you get up to a fusion reactor once you've researched that. And that takes electronics, which you also have to build. So each of these things, which do more and more, require a higher level of resource to maintain. It's kind of typical. So here's your production. You can get concrete, metals. You can build up your drones, rare metal extractors, polymers, which take fuel, electronics factories, and machine part factories. And these are interesting. Now one quick flag. The electronics factory that makes electronics takes electronics, and so if you ever get the point where you're like, I'm out of electronics, you're screwed, because the electronics factory can't make them if it doesn't have them. That's just a maintenance thing, so you get like a brief window before it all goes down the handbasket. No, don't want to do that. Let's go back here. Fuel. Fuel just takes some water and energy, and you can create the fuel. The fuel reloads the rockets and the like. So I'm just going through these really quick. You got some oxygen generator storage, water generator storage, or also water generator. This is research storage. And then you need pipes to run these things around. Just as under power, you need power cables to run them around. So you'll end up with these little networks like this one here, or here's a long network for water and power. And a lot of times people will do this. They'll put the water and the power right along each other and run it around. Not bad. I've got a couple other ideas I want to try out that I might do during a playthrough. Some other things you can build once you've researched some hydroponics farms get in these domes. Here's a dome right here. This is the large dome. And that'll give you the chance to build stuff, and it takes people. And so you'll run across these things then that require people. Here are the domes you can build. You can start off with a basic dome, and as you research, you'll find larger and larger domes you can do. And then these interesting little oval domes, which I have not yet researched. Within the domes, you can place things like living quarters, nursery, if you want to start raising people internally, playground, school, science institute. These are the research lab. Science institute generate research points that you're going to be using. Dome services. Here are the different things you can put in a dome, and these things fulfill different needs. Like here, it gives medical checks. Spacebar gives relaxation, drinking, and social. This one gives exercise and social. The casino complex gives luxury, gambling, and all that good stuff there. Food and shopping. So there's different services that people need. So if you get in here and you take a look at a person, like this person right here, yes, you can look at different individual people. You can see how old he is, if he has a specialization, where he's living, where he's working, if he's healthy, and it'll even give you a check here about how he's doing. You get to see how his sanity is, how his comfort is, how his morale is going. If it's an earthborn person, his morale gets too low, he says, "I'm out of here," and he checks out and he leaves and goes back home. And there's your traits, which you can't quite see as well because there's an overlap at the bottom, but you can see his traits are religious, composed, fit, rugged, Martian-born. There's also weaknesses as well. Let me see if I can find somebody with weakness. Too good. Very much too good. Let's see here. We'll look at people by traits. There we go, flaws. So you can find some people who have flaws. Here's a breakdown of their flaws. I got 43 people who are whiners, and some hypochondriacs, and some loners, and some idiots. Some of this stuff is just, once you get it, you got it. Some of this stuff you can cure. So for example, you can see that there's 22 people who have melancholy. There's this special building in the middle here, where you can go in here and you can click this thing and say, "I'm going to cure melancholy," but notice I can't cure idiot. Not even in the future can you cure idiot. Damn it. Oh, whatever. Fine. You want to be that way. A couple of cards, so I'll cure that too. So that'll start loading people in once I release the speed. Continuing down the build. Too close. There we go. Minimize. Thank you. So that's that. You get these dome spires in the center. These are all researched, and I've got the sanatorium right now up there, but you could do like a medical center that gives you the same thing as an infirmary, but it's much better. Network node for research. Water reclamation to do better water, so recycles up to 70% of the water used in the place. Hanging gardens for more food, which I haven't unlocked yet. And the arcology, which is like a big old apartment building in the center that gives great comfort. I've designed all my domes to do pretty much max birthing. I haven't had to bring people in for a while. And here's the things you can do. These last two are story driven, so you won't necessarily see those in the gameplay, but all of these things will give relaxation, exercise, and playing, but you can also see there is no maintenance required on these. Now here's the only thing, for me, all of these have the same thing. It would be nice if there were some that gave like games, for example. Basketball court might be one. I know in the dome services here they have the open air gym, gets exercise and social. It feels kind of like that might, I don't know. There feels like there's some decorations that should give something slightly different. maybe a bonus to comfort or a bonus to sanity or something like that. Like the rock garden, you know, should be a little more sanity. I don't know. Anyway. And then in the end, as you go through the game, at the very end of your tech trees, or close to the end of your tech trees, you'll get these wonders, and you can only have one wonder at a time. But this one builds power. This one allows you to do free trade, pretty much with the Earth, and not free, but it's discounted. This one generates metal and rare metals. This one gives research. This one gives traits, and this one gives concrete and stuff. So it isn't until you hit a wonder that you have a mechanism by which you can have an infinite dig. And what I mean by that is these guys don't require any kind of resource to mine to pick up the resources. So I'll go take a look at one of these wonders. The excavator, for example, will just generate waste rock and concrete. It doesn't need to be on a concrete resource like this right here. We'll go over here. Here's a concrete resource. And I've been mining this thing out with dropping in excavators. So if you build a resource here, production concrete extractor, you can see how this is. You can do R to rotate it around. So for example, I can put it right here. Maybe I'll just overlap it a little bit to get that. And my little droney guys will come out to build that. I'll even start to sing up a little bit. The drones will come out to fix that. I know I need to get some power. So there's my power cable. I'm going to go one more here. There it is. Now it'll be connected. And the drones come over to take care of it. And here comes the drone. See how this guy's carrying some machine parts on him? Look at him. Hello! Somebody got carried away. I can't lock on him. I want to lock on him. I guess if I just keep clicking here, you can see him move around. But these guys will all bring 1 unit each, drop this thing down, and once they get enough stuff down for it, they're going to build it. How much do I need? A little bit more. So that's concrete, but if you look on here, if you click on the resource, it says here's the total amount it has, here's how much is left, and by going around here, I can try to get all of the resource. So in this case, I have to kind of walk around and mine off all that resource if I want to. In the case of the metal, however, it'll tell me both how much is here and what kind of grade it is. If this is low grade, it means it'll mine slowly. If it's a high grade, it'll go much faster. So there's a low and a high right there for you. You can create these storage depots. You've got a universal depot that'll keep one of every type of thing, a little bit of it. You can see a little slice of stuff. Or you can create depots just specifically for one item. One of the nice things about the universal depot, if you have like a low need for demand, you're in an area that's very rural, for example, like this over here is very rural. You could do universal over here and it will have its necessary items. I'm not doing that right now. It doesn't really matter because these things don't take any kind of maintenance. One other thing in here is with your resources, you have a shuttle hub. So for example, here's a shuttle hub. I got one guy flying out to do something because there's some kind of demand somewhere. But what these guys will do is they'll use fuel and they'll fly off and they'll grab something off of a depot here and bring it somewhere where there is demand. So if you're building something you don't have enough, these guys will fly up like that and take off. And where is he going? This is kind of neat. Like I said, it would be nice to be able to track this stuff a little bit better. You know, if I like double click on this and it would just track them, that would be cool. Or I could watch my people move around. Here's another one of the wonders. When you build things, you'll have little things on the side. It'll tell you how they connect. So here's where the power and the pipes will connect to this to make this thing run. So you can see a pipe connected there. You can also see a little bit of a wire right there connected. We talked about things that we're building. Let's take a look at the wonders. So let's take a look at the domes. So when you build a dome, for example, I'll click on just Kellogg. So here's Kellogg. We got a number of colonists in there. It'll tell you how many are unemployed, how many homeless. I'm doing so well in the birthing that there's people living in the streets. It's not great, but still they're happy. Look at this. The average comfort's pretty high, except for some people just can't find a place to live. or enough stuff to do, like, for example, their shopping or their relaxation. So I can probably throw in another shopping thing there, improve that. But one of the ironic things here is you don't want to have your comfort way high, because if you do, for example, if I go in here, you'll see at the bottom it says children will be born. Well, I'm birthing kids at a bizarre rate, so I have no problem with getting kids in here. But you can see, even with all this comfort and stuff, I have a penalty of 86%, and they're still birthing people. It's bananas. But that gives you a breakdown of your people if you want to go take a look at it. You can also take a look at it by traits, but you can also sort things out. So, for example, I've got a small dome over here, and this is really just a working dome. The primary purpose for this is to create machine parts here. You can see them stacking up out there. And what I've done with this particular dome, let me see if I can grab it. There it is. I have gone ahead and filtered it by traits, and I've said by age group. I don't want children, youth, or seniors. Basically, I only want workers here. And so that forces my seniors and workers elsewhere. That's one of the things I found, is that if you're not careful, one of your domes can become unproductive because it has a lot of people who retired in it, and it's a working dome. So you need to move them. And by doing that filter, it causes them to want to leave, and they'll put in a request for one of those flyers that we saw over here flying around. Well, these guys. It'll come over there, pick them up, and it'll take them to one of the other domes that allows it. And of course, my big domes allow all of the children, all of the adult, basically it's everybody. So this is where the retirees go to die. So this is a bit of the game, and what you seen some buildings going on. So let's go over here and take a look at the concrete extractor that we've got going. You see this thing going on. All this stuff has animations. Once you get into the game, you don't tend to spend a whole lot of time on the animation, because you're trying to figure out what's going on. And usually you don't go at the speed, you go at a faster speed. So if you hit the plus key, you can get yourself going up pretty quick, so you can see things moving around. That's the fastest it'll go. So you can see all these people running around. That's kind of neat. You also have some things you can do up here on your buildings when you build them. Is modifiers, so you can like amplify them, which allows you to spend a couple of your resources to install some components that allow you to amplify the production at the cost of some extra power. Or you can actually boost them again with fuel, and they will burn off fuel. But I don't want to burn off fuel. My fuel wasn't the greatest. If you go look at your resource overview screen, you can see where your funding's coming from. You can see where your research is coming from, your power, so your grid resources. So this is all your power, your oxygen, your water. You want to keep an eye on this. You'll see things like, for example, oxygen demand, oxygen production. I'm creating more oxygen than I need, so I can store it, and the rest of it's just lost. But water, as a limited resource, the extractors are smart enough not to extract any more water than the demand requires. So I'm starting to run a little bit low on a few things there, like electronics, and that's only because I did some builds that really went through a bunch of stuff. But anyway, basic resources. So this is your graphs. You don't have anything like you do in some of the building games where it'll really break it down to these buildings. This building here is consuming this much. This building is consuming this much. So you can like isolate, but you get a pretty good feeling for stuff here. So you can see, for example, that my metals being produced is 109. I don't have any surface deposits left around. I do have 23 that I'm using, and I need 6.6 that I need for maintenance. So once all the builds and everything else is consumed, I'll be fine, because I'm producing far more metal than I need. Same with concrete, same with food, same with the rare metals. Now if you go down here to the advanced polymers, you can see that my advanced resources, my polymers are being constructed at a good rate. My electronics are a little tight, so I probably need to build like a new electronics factory somewhere. That would be ideal. Machine parts are fine, and my fuel consumption is pretty high, but then again, you saw that I have places where I can burn that off. You'll get notices on the side telling you what's going on. So for example, if I click on the research thing here, it'll take me off to research, and I can see what I'm currently researching. I've got the entire tree pretty much researched off. I wanted to see what was going on with it all. And there's all of these things are one-time research. Once you have it, you get the capability. Sometimes the capability costs you some money. Sometimes it's just a modification. Like this one here adds 10 more colonists to your pastures. These are all randomly listed. I think they're not entirely random. I think they're weighted. So these ones tend to be down here. Those ones tend to be up there. Then you have these breakthroughs which do overall modification, like printed drones here. I can make prefab drones. So all the breakthroughs tend to be modifications that are significant to gameplay. All of these are modifications to make gameplay easier. All right, and then one last thing you can do is you can outsource, so you can spend some of your available funds to buy additional research, but you might also want to use your funds for this little rocket thing here. This is how the game tends to start and go. But you get cargo rockets and passenger rockets. Cargo rockets allow you to buy things to ship them to your colony from Earth. Passenger rockets allow you to send people, and there's a lot of things you can do with these. You can say, look, for example, don't send me any seniors. I've got that on because, don't send me somebody who's not going to do any work. At least it's okay to send me people who might do work in the future, but no work now. Specializations, if you need, hey, I'm really hurting on security people. Send me security people. You can say, yeah, up that, or no, I don't want security at all, ever. Don't do that. You can also try to wait out your others, your males, your females, your others. These are So these are areas where you get your males, your females. This is others, but there's people. There's actually like Millennium Man. There's bio robots, basically positronic brains and things. Here's your different perks. We won't go through all of these, but there's different things like the party animal, which will give you a bonus for different kinds of social interactions. And then, let's see here, we got quirks, flaws. These are the flaws where people are doing stuff. And then, where am I? I had more things tonight. No, that's it. All right, good. And then the space elevator, which is a wonder. Once you have the space elevator, you can do all of your cargo capacity stuff here, where you can buy and it ships it down, or you go back to the wonder itself here, and you can export. The only thing you can export is rare metals. I'm not doing that because I need those rare metals for my electronics, which I'm slowly starting to stockpile again because my electronics factory over here has got everybody in it working really hard. A building malfunction needs to see. It needs 3 electronics to build. Thank God I got a few electronics. Not a lot, a few. So at least that'll keep going. There is buildings not working thing here, so you can look at it and say, hey, well, why isn't this building working? There's a number of reasons why. This one has just now cleared out all of its deposits. So you can do a few things with it. You can just turn it off, or you can salvage it. Once you salvage it, it'll pop itself down. You'll see here, boom. Now you have this option to rebuild it, or you can clear it. Clearing it is a research item you have to pick up. But once you get the clear, you can move it out of the space here. And I was doing an experiment here. I wanted to see if I could actually mine this thing to the point where there's no more resource thing there left. I mean, if you do water or metals, it'll do it. So
meteor incoming.
First, let's see. Anything? There is still some there. Wow. It's everywhere, man. Yeah, I'll do there. Let's see. Meteor showers. Where did that meteor go? I don't know where the meteor landed. It landed somewhere. But that's the way this game works. It's actually not only a building sim game, but it's just trying to multitask. It's really a multitasker type of thing. I don't find that the action, there's not a lot of like, oh my God, I'm getting attacked and I gotta move. It's not like a Command and Conquer or StarCraft or something like that where you're, having to really do keys per minute. That's not really the important part. It's really management. It's more like a city building a city sim. Or it is a city sim. So anyway, I wanted to show this to you. I thought what I'd do is I'm going to do one playthrough online. Let's take a look at what we're going to end up with when we do that, all right? So we'll exit out of this. Main menu. So then I could do like an easy start, which just throws me right on in, or I could do a new game. We'll probably do a new game. I'm going to show you what this looks like, but I won't do it. I'm going to do that in the beginning of the playthrough. You've got a difficulty bonus. The difficulty bonus isn't a modifier on your gameplay like it is in RimWorld, for example. RimWorld will take a look at your modifier and say, oh, well, you wanted something impossible. Great. All right, well, we're going to start throwing you, instead of 4 guys, 12 guys. And instead of 1 event, you'll have 16 events and stuff like that. This difficulty bonus is merely a representation of what you have selected. So in this particular case, with these things on, I am picking something that's super easy to play, which I did my first playthrough. What you can do here, though, is you can start changing your sponsor around, and if you go to like USA, you can see the bonus changed. And if I changed it to India, my bonus changed. So for example, in the India situation here, I'll only have 4 starting rockets. It'll give me normal difficulty. I'll have 7 billion funds to spend. I'll get 100 research from them every day, every sol, every 24 hours. And I get a rare metals price of 24 million and 150 applicants that start. All building costs are going to be reduced. I get some bonus tech. I start with an extra rocket. But if I take, let's see, Blue Sun Corporation, I only get 3 rockets. Let's pick something really, is this one hard? These are all normal. I guess you gotta log into Paradox's account and create an account. Maybe I'll do that. Watching it on normal isn't all as interesting. Let's see if I can get myself wiped out. But let's go ahead and take a look at Blue Suns Corporation here. Here I get 3 rockets. It's still easy, but you'll see I have 10 million or 10 billion funding. That's more. I still get 100. My rare metals price is 30 million. So I get more for shipping it up, so I have a chance to keep funding going. I have fewer applicants. I can buy applicants with funding. Oh, that's interesting. Additional rockets are significantly cheaper, so I can build up more rockets out of this. Probes can discover deep rare metal deposits. Bonus tech, deep metal extraction. So that's kind of nice. You have a commander profile, which is really who am I going to be? These guys give you different effects. So, for example, the inventor is going to give me, what is it? Drones are gradually optimized to work and construct faster until Sol 100. So he just keeps tweaking them. And you get autonomous hubs. Drone hubs no longer require power or maintenance. Wow, that's huge. Here you got water reclamation, less water for hydro engineer, bonus. You get the stem cell, you get a lower birth rate thing for it. It's great. Behavioral shaping, recover additional sanity, gain additional funding. Nice. Autonomous sensors. Sensors no longer require it. This is pretty good. I don't think that's as huge as the inventor, though. Ecologist, astrologist, extraction bonus. That's all right. Bonus tech, CO2 jet propulsion, electric shuttle hub, and long-range transportation. Or just pick one at random. I think if I did one, I might choose like the inventor. The inventor looks pretty cool. How did that modify my... Here's a rocket scientist. That's usually what you start off with. 70. So that doesn't change the difference. 60. Oh, it does change it. All right. This one's the hardest one. Curious. Futurist. Futurist got the highest difficulty by 20%. Company logo doesn't change anything, just changes that little cup thing up the thing here. There's the robot we saw. And here's the different story modes. You can take no story mode, or you can take some of the different ones here. Easy artificial intelligence. Spheres, the Dredges, Mars Gate, Last War, Wildfire. I don't know which one I had. All I know is there were cubes involved. So, and then you can select what you're going to do with your rockets that you do have. You can load them up and send them back. So that is a quick overview of what surviving Mars is going to look like. But if you want to see some gameplay, come back and join me as I do a playthrough. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching another episode of Dexter Plays. Please leave a like or subscribe, and post any tips or tricks down below.